I think Batman has the most iconic supervillains of all time, so today I'm going to be tier ranking all of the Batman live-action movie villains. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So I have another tier ranking for you today as I'm doing all the live-action Batman villains with the release of The Batman. Got a few villains from that movie to talk about in this one, but before I get into this tier ranking, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below your tier ranking or ranking in general of the Batman live-action movie villains. Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite? I want to know all that in the comments down below. And make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future Batman-related videos, as well as all the Batman content I've been posting on my channel this week. So the tiers I have today are best of the best, great, good, meh, and bad. And again, these are in no order. This is just all of the live-action movie villains from Batman 1966 to The Batman. So first up, we've got Bane from Batman and Robin, who I'm going to go ahead and put in bad. What an awful villain. I don't even think they speak a single line of dialogue. They are just in this movie to be a brooding force that has no real role except to be this gross, venomized freak who really just kind of is muscle. There's no characterization to this character at all. Absolutely terrible. Might be the worst villain out of this entire list. But next on the list is the actual good interpretation of Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, played by Tom Hardy. This is one of the most menacing villains in any Batman movie. He just bodies Batman. He absolutely destroys him in that sewer fight. And then, of course, by the end of the movie, he's not as strong as where the movie starts. But Bane as a Batman villain, in my opinion, is one of the best of the best. Like, I love this character. He's iconic to me, from the voice to Tom Hardy's performance. And I remember seeing this movie in theaters back in 2012 and thinking, he might give Joker a run for his money. Do I have that same thought now? I do not. But as a 12-year-old, when I saw this movie in theaters, I absolutely loved him. And to this day, when I rewatch The Dark Knight Rises, he still is one of the strong points of this movie. He's able to outsmart Batman and the entire city of Gotham, and he's also able to beat Batman in a fight. Is he comic accurate? That's a conversation for another time. But as a movie villain, he's easily one of the best, in my opinion. Next, we've got Cesar Romero's Joker from Batman 1966. Again, this was before the Joker was really taken seriously, and they did like these grounded, creepy takes on Joker. So this guy is kind of just a clown who laughs a lot. No disrespect to him. He's the first to do it in live action. But from that movie alone, he doesn't really have much going for him. So I'm going to put him in the meh category again. He's fine. He didn't really do anything awful. But in this movie, he doesn't have a ton to offer. Next is Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman from Batman Returns. This character is all right to me. Again, I think she's a little overrated. As along with the entire Batman Returns movie, I find her origin story extremely wacky and just off-putting, and her character in the movie kind of irritating. So I never really was a huge fan of this version of Catwoman. I can't go best of the best. I can't go bad, though, so it's definitely not great. So it's either good or meh. Oh, man, this is tough. I'm going to go good just for the sake of she kind of carries Batman Returns. I think she is the better villain in that movie, and her relationship with Bruce I find particularly interesting. So while I don't like that movie, I think she might be the best aspect of it. Again, they might have well have just called the movie Penguin or Catwoman because Batman barely has any screen time in that one. Next on my list is the original Catwoman from the 1966 Batman movie, who again, the villains in this movie don't really have much to do except for Penguin in my opinion, so I'm going to go meh with this version of Catwoman. She's fine. Like, she's not terrible. I think she has more to do than Joker, probably because she has to play two roles in this movie and tries to like seduce and tempt Bruce to go to a certain location where they can trap Bruce so that they can try and get Batman to come after him, but they don't really know Batman's true identity. So it's an interesting dynamic. I think she is fine, though. She's all right. Next is the next interpretation of Joker, who is Jack Nicholson's Joker. A lot of people love this version of the character. I think he's all right. Again, a little more cheesy, especially the whole dance number in the museum. I always found that a little wacky. I'm going to go with good for this version of the Joker. Again, a lot of people might go great or best of the best. I think he's good. He's serviceable. They do a good job of setting him up early on as his name is Jack, and then when he falls into the acid at the factory, like, it all works for me. I just think that he's good, you know? He's good. He's better than everything below him, but he is not great or best of the best. Thumbs up for Jack Nicholson's Joker. Next on my list is the GOAT Batman villain, Heath Ledger's Joker. Oscar winner, won it posthumously. Rest in peace to Heath Ledger. I'm going to put him at best of the best, and I'm going to put him at the top. I usually don't really differentiate. I just kind of throw him in there. But I put him at the top left corner because that's what he deserves. He's the best Batman villain. He is part of one of the greatest Batman films of all time. And his performance goes down in history. I mean, everyone can agree he is a true menace in that movie. He is the Joker. Like, when you think Joker, there's Joaquin, there's Nicholson, there's Cesar Romero, there's Jared Leto, but it's gotta be Ledger. He's the best Joker for sure. And there was a time where I kind of said maybe Joaquin's better. Ledger is the best Joker. Next on my list is Mr. Freeze, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Batman and Robin.
Chill.
That was awful. But this movie is awful as well. And as much as I want to put him in mad because I think he has some funny one-liners and maybe is a little bit more characterized than others, I got to go bad with Arnold's Mr. Freeze. It's just a terrible take. An extremely cheesy character who I'm just not a fan of. I can't get behind this movie at all. And I love Arnold. Trust me, he's done a lot of great, but Batman and Robin is not one of his great performances. I just can't do it. Next on my list is Danny DeVito's Penguin, who's sort of become iconic because of his really creepy role in the 90s. I do not like this villain at all. I find him insufferable anytime he's on screen, and to be honest with you guys, it's really tempting for me to put him straight up in the bad category. You know what? I'm going to put him in the bad category. I just did. I don't care. That's my opinion. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I think he is a terrible villain. He's disgusting and gross. I know that's the point of his character, but like, I don't want to even look at this guy ever. All he does is has some plan to run for mayor, and then he wants to bomb Gotham City because he was thrown out as a kid. That obviously is something that could cause someone to be bitter, but his role in the movie is so stupid, and the movie is overall is just so awful. I can't stand this version of Penguin. No disrespect to Danny DeVito, but this character I find insufferable and is just a terrible villain in my eyes. Like, awful. I think Catwoman is way better in that movie. He just runs around eating raw fish and hitting on women that clearly have no interest in him. Next, we've got Burgess Meredith's version of Penguin from Batman 1966, who I'm actually going to put in the good category. I think this is the most remarkable part of Batman 1966 when it comes to villains. He's the better version of Penguin, honestly, and the way he just waddles around and talks into his teeth like this, there's something remarkable about it. And Burgess Meredith, obviously Mick in the Rocky films we've all come to know and love, but I think he's a pretty good villain. He's like the main one in my eyes. He creates the dehydration thing where these different people get turned into particles. Is it cheesy? Oh, absolutely it is. But there's something about it, again, that I just find a little endearing, and I think he is the most iconic villain from that original film for sure. So I have to put him in good because he carries out of all the villains in that movie. Next, we've got Colin Farrell's Penguin, who is in The Batman, and I'm honestly a pretty big fan of this character. He's one of the most unrecognizable performances I've ever seen. If there was an Oscar for like most unrecognizable actor, it would 100% go to Colin Farrell in this movie because you can't tell it's him. But he has the mannerisms down. He feels like a mob boss. You can kind of feel for him in certain ways. I really hope they do a good job of his TV show of really setting him up to be the next big boss of Gotham. So I'm honestly going to have to go great with Colin Farrell's Penguin. I like this character a lot. He's not in the movie as much as I would have hoped, but every single scene he's in, I think he's a standout. And I think they're really going to utilize his character moving forward. Next, we've got Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy from the Batman and Robin film. And I honestly am going to go mad with this version. I know that puts her as the best villain from Batman and Robin, but at least they show her like as a human doctor before she full on turns into Poison Ivy. Is she ridiculously cheesy like all the other villains in this movie? Yes, but I think she might be the standout of the three. I mean, obviously it's hard to miss Arnold with the painted blue with the cheesy one-liners, but I think I might prefer Poison Ivy as a villain in this movie. It's not by much. Meh, still not great. Again, looking at these lower tier villains, there are some really bad villains in the Batman live action films, but that's what makes the best of the best and great even more remarkable. Next, we have Raz Al Ghul from Batman Begins, played by Liam Neeson. I like the little trickeration they do in this movie where they fake you out and they don't really tell you it's Raz Al Ghul until the third act. Raz Al Ghul mentors Bruce in this film, so it really kind of hurts even more when he turns on him later, and I think that really adds to the emotional stakes of the third act. I gotta go great with Raz Al Ghul. I think Liam Neeson is a great underrated actor. I don't know what's happened to him lately with all these action movies he's doing, but I do like his work in this movie, and I think that he just has the look in the persona of Raz Al Ghul down, and I love the way he's able to get in Bruce's mind and play tricks with him. Next on my list is going to be the infamous Jim Carrey Riddler from Batman Forever. I don't like this movie at all. It's awful. The Joel Schumacher films are just not my cup of tea. And I think Riddler is really, really bad, but to be honest with you, I'm going to have to go mad because of Jim Carrey's performance. Like, is he a good villain? Hell no, he's not. But Carrey is so over the top and wacky in it that I have to give it some credit. At least they show him as like a human turned into Riddler, albeit extremely far-fetched and stupid. But at least they give him that bit of characterization, unlike another villain in the movie who we'll talk about in a second. Next, we've got Paul Dano's Riddler from the newest Batman movie. Now, I really, really like this villain. I think he is a menace, and it's extremely unsettling the first time we see him, and throughout the movie as well. It's very brutal what he does. He reminds me of the Jigsaw Killer, like I've mentioned in previous videos, where he has this attitude to him where he can outsmart you, and he's setting up these different traps around Gotham for people to get killed. I like his villain quite a bit. I think in the third act, he takes a little bit of a back seat, which is what holds him back from being best of the best. He is still a damn great villain. I'm going to put him right there in the great tier. Paul Dano kills it in this role, but he is not best of the best yet. Now, if I redid this tier list in a few years, again, maybe the test of time could have it age very fine for me, but right now he's just in great, which is right below best of the best. Next is the Riddler from the Batman 1966 film, which again is very cheesy. Riddler has the smallest role in this movie, so I gotta go bad. Again, nothing against like the actor or the character Riddler, but I don't remember anything he does in this movie. He's just kind of there to be this little laughing dude, kind of like Joker in the movie. So I had to go bad with him. He just doesn't do much. Next, we've got Scarecrow from Batman Begins and making other appearances, of course, in the Dark Knight trilogy. Very small, but Scarecrow never was the main villain of Begins to me. It was always Raz Al Ghul. And while Scarecrow was menacing, especially with the fear gas and the scary moments like that, I can only put him in good. So I'm going to put him in good right here. Let's see. I think Cillian Murphy is an underrated talent working today in Hollywood. And again, he's very scary in Batman Begins when he puts the fear gas in people. But he does take a little bit of a backseat in that third act when Raz Al Ghul kind of comes back. Next, we have Talia Al Ghul, who's actually Miranda Tate for the majority of The Dark Knight Rises. So we don't really find out till the very end she's a villain. So I can't really go best of the best or great with her. I wouldn't go bad, though, either. Her death scene is god-awful. I mean, we all know that. I'm not going to sit here and harp on it. But, I don't know. She's always been kind of sidelined. And while it is explained at the end what her role was, it was almost too little too late for me to really care or put her in anything higher than, like, good. Because she's kind of the mastermind behind the operation, I'm going to put her in good. Even though she could go meh for me, I'm just putting her in good simply because she is actually the one who we see escape from the pit, and Bane is the one who is protecting her. So that's a cool reveal, and she's kind of the brains of the operation in a way. So I'm going to put her in good, even though Bane is significantly better because of the first half of that movie. Next, we've got Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Obviously, it's weird that the Two-Faces are the last two left in the tier, but I like this character a lot. I think that this is the best adaptation we've seen in live action. The White Knight of Gotham City. If you could take someone like Harvey Dent and destroy him, Joker ultimately won. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and that's pretty poetic for Harvey Dent. I think this is honestly a great villain. Now, he is not the headline, the standout in The Dark Knight. Obviously, that would be our friend Joker, but I think he's pivotal to Batman's arc, especially because at the end of the movie, we have to see Batman take on this role of crime, essentially as the criminal, and be essentially chased by everyone in Gotham and damned almost. So I think that it's great to see him take the fall, and the score at the end of The Dark Knight's iconic. Plus, he's a pretty freaky villain. I mean, he almost kills Gordon and his family. He doesn't really give a damn. He flips the coin and shoots the driver in that one scene. So there's a lot to love about him. I think they could do an even better version of Two-Face in the Batman franchise, which I hope becomes a franchise. And last, but possibly least, is the Tommy Lee Jones version of Two-Face from Batman Forever. I'm going to go ahead and put him in bad. This is an awful adaptation of Two-Face. We don't get an origin or anything. He's just running around goofy like the entire movie. Very unremarkable, and Riddler is the one with the brains of the operation in Batman Forever. But that is my tier right there of all the Batman live-action movie villains. Definitely let me know yours in the comments down below. Would you have put someone else in best of the best, someone else in bad? What do you think of my list? Make sure to hit the like button, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my Batman content. I have a ton that already came out, a little bit more coming out. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Batman if you got the chance to see it this weekend. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.